Have you ever wondered if something as simple, as sweet, as a piece of fruit could quietly harm your health? You've been told since childhood that fruit is nature's candy, that it's full of vitamins, antioxidants, nourishment, that the more you eat, the better. And for the most part, that's true. But here's what no one ever told you. Not all fruits are created equal, especially not after 60. Because after 60, your body doesn't respond the way it used to. Metabolism slows. The digestive system becomes more sensitive. Your ability to regulate blood sugar becomes more fragile. And the medications that keep your heart beating, your joints moving, your blood thin and steady, are now walking a tightrope, a rope that fruit of all things might be shaking. It sounds absurd, doesn't it? But some fruits, though packed with natural sugars, beautiful colors, and health promises, can quietly become dangerous. Yes, dangerous. They may interfere with medications, trigger blood sugar spikes, worsen joint pain, or overload your kidneys with potassium. And you may never know they're the cause until the damage is already underway. But this isn't a message of fear. It's one of clarity and, more importantly, hope. Because just as there are fruits you may need to avoid, there are also fruits that heal, fruits that restore memory, fruits that protect your heart, fruits that calm inflammation, strengthen your bones, and bring light back into your body one bite at a time. And today I want to walk you through them. The 4 fruits you should avoid, and the 4 you absolutely should eat if you want to stay strong, clear, and independent in the years ahead. But first, if this is your first time with us, subscribe to Senior Fit, where we share the real truths about aging well. And if you've ever assumed all fruit was safe, type 1 in the comments. If you've already learned the hard way, type 2. Because sometimes it's not the foods we fear, it's the ones we trust that hurt us the most. Now let's begin. And we'll start with a fruit that has fooled millions of health-conscious seniors for decades. Bright, cheerful, popular, and quietly dangerous. Let's talk about grapefruit. At first glance, the grapefruit looks like a gift. Its bright pink flesh, its refreshing bitterness, the way it glistens in the morning sun, sliced and ready next to a cup of coffee. For decades, it's been painted as the picture of a heart-healthy breakfast, fresh, light, honest. But behind that juicy promise lies something rarely discussed, a silent threat. Because grapefruit doesn't just interact with your taste buds, it interacts with your medicine, and not in a small way. Inside this innocent-looking fruit is a compound that blocks a liver enzyme known as CYP3A4. Now, that enzyme may not sound important, but it's responsible for breaking down more than half of the prescription drugs used by people over 60. Blood pressure medications, statins for cholesterol, anti-anxiety pills, blood thinners, even immune suppressants and antidepressants. When that enzyme gets blocked, as it does when you eat grapefruit, your medications can build up to dangerously high levels in your bloodstream. Like a river with no outlet, the chemicals you rely on to help you begin to hurt you. The consequences: severe muscle breakdown from statins, life-threatening heart rhythm disturbances, internal bleeding from blood thinner, oversedation from anti-anxiety med. And here's the real tragedy. Most seniors have no idea. They eat half a grapefruit for breakfast and swallow their pills minutes later, never knowing what's brewing inside them. Until it's too late. Until the ER visit. Until the sudden fatigue or dizziness or collapse. Until the doctor asks, "Did you eat grapefruit this week?" And you remember too late that you thought you were making a healthy choice. This isn't about fear, it's about wisdom, because grapefruit is not inherently evil. But for seniors on medication, and that includes over 70% of Americans over 65, it simply isn't worth the risk. There are other fruits that refresh you without interfering with the very prescriptions keeping you alive. So before you peel that next pink segment, ask yourself, is this truly the best thing for me, or just something I got used to long ago? Now, if a fruit as vibrant and popular as grapefruit can hide such a serious risk, what about something smaller, sweeter, something that's always felt innocent, even nostalgic? Let's move on to the second fruit you need to watch out for, the one that often sits in summer bowls and pies, but may quietly be inflaming your joints and spiking your blood sugar. Still with me? Let's talk about cherries. Cherries, so small, so red, so sweet. They feel like summer in a bowl, like childhood memories of sticky fingers, picnic blankets, and cooling pies on a windowsill. They feel safe. But for seniors especially, those living with arthritis, diabetes, or prediabetes, cherries can quietly betray the very body you're trying to protect. You see, cherries, particularly the sweet dark varieties, are extremely high in natural sugars. Just 1 cup contains nearly 20 grams. That's more sugar than many seniors should have in an entire meal. And unlike in your younger years, your body now processes sugar more slowly. Your insulin response is weaker, your blood vessels more fragile, your pancreas more sensitive to stress. So when you pop a few handfuls of cherries or sip on cherry juice, that sugar doesn't just give you energy, it slams into your bloodstream, creating spikes that damage the kidneys, harm the brain, inflame your nerves, and leave you feeling foggy, tired, dizzy without knowing why. But sugar isn't the only concern. Cherries are also acidic. And for older adults with inflammatory conditions like arthritis or joint degeneration, this natural acidity can worsen swelling and stiffness. What you thought was helping you feel young again may actually be the reason your knees throb after dinner, the reason your fingers ache in the morning, the reason your sleep is disturbed by discomfort you can't quite explain. And it gets worse with dried cherry syrups and concentrated cherry products. Because when cherries are processed, their sugars and acids become even more concentrated. No fiber, no water, just sweetness condensed into something that looks healthy and hits hard. The danger isn't loud. It doesn't come with a label or a warning. It creeps in silently. Your morning walk gets harder. You feel more irritable, more tired. You blame age or the weather or your shoes. But the truth, it might be the cherries. This is why, as we grow older, even sweetness must be questioned, because not all sugar is equal and not all fruit is safe. And if something as small and nostalgic as cherries can tip your blood sugar out of balance, can aggravate your inflammation and hide behind antioxidants, then imagine what happens when a fruit floods your body with too much potassium, a fruit that's often handed out in hospitals, packed in school lunches, eaten without a second thought. You know the one I mean. Let's talk about bananas and why they may no longer be the safe snack they once were. Bananas. Simple, convenient, beloved. You've likely eaten hundreds, maybe thousands in your lifetime. They've been there in your lunchbox, on your cereal, in your smoothies. They've been called a perfect food high in potassium, good for cramps, good for the heart. And for a younger body, that might be true. But after 60, even good things can quietly become too much. And when it comes to bananas, it's the potassium that turns from helper into hazard. Here's what happens. As we age, our kidneys, those incredible filters, start to slow down. They don't process excess minerals as efficiently. They don't flush the blood like they once did. So when you eat foods high in potassium like bananas, that potassium can build up in the bloodstream. And when potassium levels get too high, something dangerous occurs. Your heart rhythm can change. Your muscles may weaken. Your legs might feel heavy, unstable, or off. You could feel dizzy, confused, or unusually fatigued. And in the most severe cases, it can lead to a life-threatening condition called hyperkalemia. The scary part, most people never suspect the banana. It seems too wholesome, too safe, too familiar. And that's exactly what makes it dangerous. Because a banana a day, especially if you're also taking ACE inhibitors, ARBs, or potassium-sparing diuretics for blood pressure or heart disease, might not be nourishing you. It might be slowly overloading your internal system, pushing your heart, your kidneys, your muscles toward imbalance. And just like with grapefruit, most people don't realize until it's too late. Until they're rushed to the ER with weakness, irregular heartbeat, or sudden confusion. This doesn't mean bananas are evil. It just means your body has changed, and your diet must honor that change. So before you reach for another banana, ask yourself, do I actually need this, or am I just eating it because I always have? Because sometimes the most dangerous choices aren't the obvious ones. They're the ones that feel familiar. The ones we've done for decades, never thinking they could hurt us. And if the soft yellow fruit you trusted for years can turn into a metabolic trap, what about the fruit that hides behind an even more deceptive mask? A fruit that isn't fresh at all, but shriveled, dried, and packaged as health food. Let's talk about the final fruit to avoid after 60 dried fruits. They may be small, but they carry a concentrated risk. They come in tidy little bags: raisins, dates, dried apricots, cranberries. They sit in trail mixes, hide in your oatmeal, appear in so-called healthy granola bars. They're given to children, recommended as a natural snack, even offered in doctors' offices as the better choice. But for seniors especially, those over 60 dried fruits can be an invisible trap. Because here's what most people don't realize. When fruit is dried, the water is removed, but the sugar stays. And not just stays, it gets concentrated. A small handful of raisins, it's not a handful of grapes. It's a compressed cluster of sugar, stripped of fiber and water, and delivered to your bloodstream like a sugar bomb. Even worse, many dried fruits are coated in additional sugar, or preserved with sulfites, which can trigger migraines, gut inflammation, and respiratory issues, especially in older adults. Now imagine you're over 60. Your digestion is more sensitive. Your insulin response is slower. Your arteries are less flexible. And your body no longer buffers sugar the way it once did. So what happens? You snack on a few dried cranberries, just a handful. But your blood sugar spikes, your energy crashes, your joints ache, your stomach bloats, and worst of all, you blame yourself, your age, your body, never realizing it was that one healthy snack you thought was safe. This is what makes dried fruit so deceptive. It pretends to be good for you. It carries the same name as the fresh fruit it came from. But its effects are completely different, especially for someone with type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, or digestive challenges. Think about it this way. Would you ever eat a dozen grapes in one bite? Because that's what a handful of raisins really is. But without the water to slow the absorption, and without the fiber to protect your gut. The price you pay: unstable blood sugar, poor sleep, silent inflammation, and a digestive system that never fully feels at ease. And all of this from something that sits in your pantry with a label that says natural. But the truth is, not all natural is helpful. Not for you, not anymore. And just as some fruits must now be limited, others must be embraced. Because nature doesn't just bring danger, it also brings medicine. You just have to know which is which. So now that we've talked about the fruits you should limit, let's turn toward healing. Let's look at the 4 must-eat fruits after 60 that support your memory, your heart, your bones, and your digestion. And we begin with one tiny blue, humble berry that just might protect the most precious part of you, your mind. Let's talk about blueberries. There's something quietly magical about a blueberry. It doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't come in exotic colors or dramatic shapes. It's small, soft, humble. But inside that tiny deep blue skin lies one of nature's most powerful gifts, especially for aging minds. Because as we grow older, one of the most silent and most feared losses is the loss of clarity. We walk into a room and forget why. We lose track of names, of details, of simple things that used to be second nature. And we start to wonder, is this aging, or is something more serious beginning? But here's the encouraging truth. What you eat doesn't just feed your stomach, it feeds your brain. And blueberries, more than almost any other fruit, are known to protect memory, cognition, and focus. They're rich in a group of compounds called anthocyanins, the pigments that give them that dark blue hue. But those pigments do more than color. They cross the blood-brain barrier, reduce inflammation in brain tissue, protect against oxidative stress, and improve the way neurons communicate with each other. In simple terms, they help your brain stay connected to itself and to you. Regular blueberry intake has been linked to slower cognitive decline, better decision-making, sharper short-term memory, and a reduced risk of Alzheimer's disease. For older adults, these aren't just nice outcomes. They're lifelines. They mean remembering a birthday, finishing a sentence, getting through the day with confidence and calm, holding on to the names of those you love. And the best part, blueberries are low in sugar, high in antioxidants, and incredibly easy to add to your day. Just half a cup a day, tossed in oatmeal, blended into a smoothie, or eaten fresh as a snack can help protect your brain in ways no supplement can replicate. In a world full of pills, promises, and brain boosters, sometimes the best medicine grows quietly on a bush. And if this little blue fruit can help you hold onto your mind, what about a fruit that helps guard your heart? One that's crisp, familiar, and already waiting in your fridge. Let's talk about apples. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's one of the oldest sayings in health. We've all heard it. Most of us have repeated it. And like many old sayings, it carries a quiet truth, especially for those of us navigating the later chapters of life. Because when it comes to protecting the heart, few fruits are as reliable, as accessible, or as quietly powerful as the apple. But what makes this ordinary fruit such a trusted ally? First, it's rich in soluble fiber, particularly a type called pectin. Pectin works like a gentle broom inside your body. It sweeps up excess LDL cholesterol, binds to it in the digestive tract, and carries it out before it ever reaches your bloodstream. And for older adults, especially those managing cholesterol or heart disease, that process can mean the difference between plaque building up in your arteries and blood flowing clean and free. But apples don't stop there. They're also low in natural sugar, rich in water and fiber, helpful for blood sugar regulation, supportive of healthy weight maintenance, and gentle on the digestive system. They even contain quercetin, a flavonoid in the skin with powerful anti-inflammatory properties. which can help reduce the chronic low-grade inflammation that often contributes to heart disease, joint pain, and even neurodegeneration. And for many older adults, there's another kind of nourishment here, a kind that can't be measured in vitamins. It's the emotional nourishment, the crunch of a cold apple on a fall morning, the scent of apple pie cooling in a warm kitchen, the memory of a parent slicing one for your lunchbox, or a grandchild reaching for a shiny red fruit in your hand. Apples remind us where we've been, and they help us move forward with steadier hearts and stronger digestion. So yes, one apple a day really can make a difference, not because it's flashy, but because it's faithful. And if the apple is a quiet protector of your heart, then what about a fruit that protects your bones, nourishes your brain, and supports your skin, eyes, and circulation all at once? It's creamy, it's rich, and for years it's been misunderstood. Let's talk about avocados, the fat that helps you age with strength and grace. It's not your typical fruit. You won't find it in a sweet fruit salad. It doesn't burst with juice. It doesn't sit pretty in a bowl on the kitchen counter. But for those of us over 60, the avocado may be one of the most powerful fruits we can invite into our lives. Yes, fruit. Botanically speaking, avocados are fruits, but nutritionally, they are so much more. They are fuel for longevity, for clarity, for strength. Because while many fruits deliver sugar and vitamins, the avocado delivers something different, something aging bodies deeply need. Healthy fat, specifically monounsaturated fats, the kind that don't clog arteries, but protect them. These fats lower bad LDL cholesterol, raise good HDL cholesterol, support heart health, feed the brain with long-burning energy, reduce systemic inflammation that causes pain in joints and stiffness in movement. But that's just the beginning. Avocados are also rich in vitamin K, crucial for bone density and fracture prevention, folate and potassium, important for regulating blood pressure and nerve function, lutein, a potent antioxidant that helps protect your eyes from age-related macular degeneration. And unlike many processed spreads or salad dressings, avocados are whole, untouched, offered directly from nature without additives, without sugar, without preservatives. A few slices on whole grain toast, a spoonful beside your eggs, mashed into a bowl with a little salt and lemon. It's easy, nourishing, satisfying. And at this stage of life that matters, because so many foods feel restrictive. So many labels say, don't eat this, avoid, that cut back on flavor. But the avocado says, I'm here to help. I'll nourish you, not punish you. I'll support your brain bones and balance without taking joy off your plate. And if that soft green fruit can strengthen your bones, then what about a fruit that helps soothe something even more sensitive? Something many older adults struggle with quietly: digestion. Let's talk about the final fruit on our healing list. The one that calms the gut, boosts the immune system, and reduces inflammation from the inside out. Let's talk about papaya. There's something soft and forgiving about a ripe papaya. Its golden orange flesh, its mild sweetness, its gentle texture, almost like it's been designed for comfort. And for the aging body, especially for those dealing with digestive discomfort, chronic inflammation, or immune weakness, papaya is not just a treat. It's a natural remedy wrapped in fruit's clothing. Let's start with your gut. As we age, digestion tends to slow down. Meals that once sat easily can now cause bloating, acid reflux, or irregularity. The medications we rely on for pain, for blood pressure, for sleep often come with digestive side effects, and over time it becomes harder to feel light after eating. That's where papaya shines. It contains an enzyme called papain, a natural digestive aid that helps break down proteins, eases the work your stomach has to do, and reduces feelings of heaviness and discomfort after meals. But it doesn't stop there. Papaya is also packed with vitamin C, which boosts immune strength and helps fight inflammation. Vitamin A and E, essential for skin repair, eye health, and cell protection. Flavonoids, which protect the body from oxidative damage and chronic disease progression. And because papaya is non-acidic, low in sugar, and high in water, it's one of the easiest fruits on the digestive system. No bloating, no burning, no sugar crash. Just nourishment, smooth, supportive, and soothing. For older adults struggling with arthritis, joint stiffness, or inflammatory conditions, papaya also acts as a gentle anti-inflammatory agent, helping to ease pain, not by masking it, but by addressing the internal stress that causes it. It doesn't require cooking. It doesn't need to be sweetened. It's soft enough to eat with a spoon, easy to digest, and easy to love. Just a few slices in the morning, or blended into a smoothie at night, can help calm your body in ways that pills and powders often can't. And maybe most beautifully, papaya reminds us that healing doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to come in a bottle or a complicated routine. Sometimes it's as simple as choosing the right food and allowing it to work gently from the inside out. So now you know. You've heard the 4 fruits to avoid. You've discovered the 4 fruits to embrace. You've learned how small decisions, what you eat, what you don't, can shape your energy, your memory, your strength, and your future. But before we go, let's tie it all together. Because this isn't just about fruit. It's about how we move forward from here, one mindful choice at a time. As we move through the later chapters of life, there is a quiet truth that becomes clearer with each passing year. We can no longer afford to live on autopilot. We can't rely on habits we formed in our 30s, or rules from a food pyramid drawn decades ago. Our bodies are different now. Our needs have changed. And the things we once trusted, the foods that were once harmless, may no longer serve us the way they used to. But that doesn't mean fear, it means awareness. Because you are not powerless, you are not fragile, you are not finished. You're still here with a brain that deserves clarity, with a heart that deserves protection, with joints that deserve ease, and with time that still matters. And every bite you take, every fruit you choose or choose to avoid, is a chance to protect what's still ahead. Maybe it means skipping the grapefruit and asking your doctor first. Maybe it means choosing blueberries instead of dried raisins. Maybe it means adding a few slices of avocado to your toast, or replacing sugary cherries with a crisp, fiber-rich apple. Small shifts, day by day, quiet acts of self-respect. Because you're not just feeding a body, you're protecting a future. And when you care for yourself this way, with knowledge, with intention, with love, you don't just add years to your life. You add life to your years. You feel clearer, stronger, more balanced, more in control. And isn't that what we all want? Not perfection, not to chase youth, but to feel good in our own skin, to wake up with energy, to move with less pain, to think with more clarity, to live on our own terms. That's what this video was about. Not rules, but guidance, not judgment, but gentle truth. So now I'd love to hear from you. Take a quiet moment. Reflect on what you've learned today. Then scroll down and share with us what fruit will you embrace more often and which one will you now let go. If you found this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, feel free to type 0 so we know how to do better. And if this felt like the kind of content you want more of health, that's human, honest, and empowering, then please subscribe to Senior Fit. Because growing older doesn't mean growing smaller. It means growing wiser, stronger, more intentional, more in tune with your own body. You've made it this far. You've earned this care. And we're honored to walk beside you one mindful bite at a time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And here's to your strength, your clarity, and your future from all of us at Senior Fit.